Hey guys, Wayne here. Today I want to talk a little bit about holding on to our past lives. We get caught into this situation where we are constantly stuck thinking about our past. We get so angry about everything that's happened and what we're going through, and we have every right to be upset and angry. We have every reason to be concerned for our children, and we have every right to want justice and for the other person to be held accountable. And in the beginning, we fight for all those things. We struggle with what's going on. We jockey for position. We try to find fairness in this entire process. Now, some of us are lucky enough to find some justice and accountability, with court victories and stuff like that. And others just don't see the small victories that we get. I think a lot of times I fall into that category. I didn't necessarily get all the victories I wanted, but I was so tied up in the situation that I wasn't even thinking about and looking for the small victories that I was actually getting. And then there's even others out there who just have to deal with the oppressive nature of this fight. A commenter a couple of days ago made a comment about how if we don't, or the longer we don't recognize what we're dealing with, the more damage is done through the court systems or just in the ability of our ex to jockey for their own position and achieve a lot of victory. And when that happens, then we fall victim to it, and the oppressive nature of the court systems and of the system itself can lead us to a situation where there aren't many victories, and it's really hard to see some. I always believe that there are victories, but they just become more subtle as we get farther away from the initial stage where we have our best chance of success. But there are still victories to be had, and I'll talk about those as I get farther along in this video. See, the thing is as we move on, and after a while, those fights just aren't as important as they were before. It's not that we're letting the person get away with things, and it's not that we're not retreating, but giving up or surrendering. It's just that we realize that staying in the midst of that fight just keeps holding us back in that past. But that doesn't mean that we give up or that we forget. It just means that we change our priorities and we begin to focus on different things. And that's really what is important. Those different things, like our children, like our lives right here, right now, what's happening in this moment, like our futures, and maybe even healthy relationships. So you end up asking yourself, as I know I did, what does this all mean? What's the point of all this? Well, the main takeaway from all this is that the way you're feeling right now is only right now. Well, and maybe tomorrow and possibly even the day after that. But what I mean is that it's, we get so caught up in this moment, this particular instant in time, and we tie that back with the past and we get stuck. But after you've had time to process that anger and that frustration, the disappointment in yourself, the disappointment in the system and the process, the disappointment in your ex, after all of that, we get tired of basically focusing on them. And that's really what happens. We get so tied up in all of this and we're focused on them. We're focused on what they've done to us. We're focused on what they've done to the children. We're focused on what they're doing now. We're focused on the life that we think that they have. And after a while, we just get tired of giving them more of our energy and letting the positive things in our lives be diluted because of their actions. I can't tell you how many times over the last 5 years where I went from a really happy and content moment into a deep depression or anger because of her actions, or of the negative influence over our kids, or because of school problems, which I guess technically falls into the negative influence for our kids. But it's like all of that stuff. Guys, I get it. I completely understand how hard this is. For the longest time, I gripped to that anger, to that sadness and that frustration, and I just couldn't let it go. I felt if I let it go, I was giving her a pass on everything that had happened, on everything that happened between us, on everything that that happened with the kids, everything that was happening with the kids, on the way that I interacted before, I mean, there's all kinds of things that I just held on to and I just couldn't let go. Now, keep in mind, when I was going through all this, I knew what this can do to you. I've seen people, like I've talked about before, my own father lose a significant amount of time because of that anger and that frustration and that bitterness. And I never wanted to fall into that. But there I was, found myself basically in the same mode, feeling that there was no escape, feeling that there was no chance to get out, to get away from it, to escape the situation, to find a way to be able to get past it. Even with that in mind, it has taken me a really long time to get to this point. So I understand that it's going to take you time too. It's just part of the process. And the thing is, and that's okay, right? We have to take that time to heal. You have to. It's something that you can't get over overnight, or just snap your fingers and move past. But the thing that I'm trying to say, or the message I want you guys to hear, is that this doesn't last forever. You're not going to feel this way forever. And I say this because I felt like this was going to last forever. I felt that my life would be like this, would be forever tainted by this, and that I wasn't going to be able to escape it. Take what I just said a few minutes ago. I mean, I have seen what this can do to people, right? So I knew that I didn't want to do the same thing. And I struggled a lot to get to the point. I mean, it wasn't days, it wasn't weeks. It was many months and actually a couple of years, actually probably 2.5, 3 years, to get to the point where I really started to have some improvement. And the entire time I was going through that, I felt that I was trapped, that this was never going to end, that I wasn't going to be able to have any of the successes that I've had, that I've talked to you guys about, that I wasn't going to be able to rebuild the relationship with my children, that I wasn't going to be able to rebuild my life, that I wasn't going to be able to rebuild my financial future, all of those things. Now, nothing is the way I anticipated it to be, and all the plans I had going on before I came into this, okay, those are gone. But the life that I have going forward now is so much better than it was before. But those first couple of years, I couldn't see it. I felt that it was never going to happen. I got through the day just on the perseverance and the anger of, you're not, like I talked about in another video, that you're not going to break me, that this is not, I am not going to give up. It will not happen. And that was done without any real vision of what I thought the future could be. So bottom line is, we have to look toward tomorrow and recognize that we have a possibility, that you have a possibility of a good future and a good life, that you have the opportunity to rebuild the relationship with your kids. It doesn't matter if it's a disaster today and they are young. In the future, when they're older and they're adults, there is a good chance that they're going to start to see everything that's happened, and you will get an opportunity to rebuild that relationship. And I get that it's looking at something that's that far down the road seems like forever. But guys, nothing is forever, right? I can remember looking at this situation early on, like when it first finished, and I was looking at the situation and looking at the amount of time it was going to take until all my kids were adults, which, if I remember correctly at the time, was like 11 years, something like that, 11 or 12 years. That seemed like forever. I'm already at the point where not my youngest, but my oldest is getting ready to basically become an adult. And then 2 years after that, my middle daughter is going to become an adult. And then it's just another 4 years after that. And I know that sounds like a long time, but I look at the little victories and the big victories that I've had now, and it's a snowball effect, right? So now I'm starting to see how things can turn out. And the point of this is, I just want you to take the story from somebody who's been through basically what you're going through now, and get some hope that you can get from point A to point B and have some good times along the way. Okay, my final thought on this that I just want to leave you guys with is, at some point we have to let go of that past. And The amazing part about it is when we get to that point, when we get to the point where we can allow ourselves to do that, things just start to get better. You get the ability to start focusing more on yourself and your own life, on your children, on just your future overall. And it makes a huge difference in what you're doing and how things are going. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. If you have some things you would like to add talking about holding on to your past and the struggle you've had with that, leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, please subscribe, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. So take care. Bye.